Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lillian. I post content on gospel, education, and lifestyle. If this is something you're interested in, subscribe down below. Today we're going to be talking about facing your giants, and we're going to be looking at three characters in the Bible. We're going to be looking at King Saul, we're going to be looking at King David, and we're also going to be looking at Jonah in the Bible. And I feel like I hope this video teaches you one or two things and the importance of facing your giants. So first of all, we all know who King Saul is. King Saul is the first king of Israel, and basically Samuel, the Israelites rejected Samuel's children because I believe they felt like his kids were not necessarily walking in the ways of the Lord or something of that nature, and they rejected Samuel's children and they requested for a king. And God actually told them the consequences of having a king, but either ways they still wanted a king so bad. And the Lord told Samuel to anoint Saul as a new king. Now, one of the things that Saul struggled with was disobedience. As you can see in 1 Samuel chapter 13, one of the things that Saul did was unlawful sacrifice. I think they went for war, and Saul waited for Samuel to come, but Samuel did not come on time, and Saul ended up making an unlawful sacrifice to God. So we can see that Saul actually struggled with disobedience. Guys, I'm actually confusing Saul and Samuel, but anyways, Saul struggled with disobedience, as we can see in 1 Samuel chapter 15. Samuel gave Saul instructions, and he told Saul, go to Amalekites and kill everything there. Kill the livestock, kill the king, every single thing. But one of the things Saul did was Saul spared the king, and he also brought back the best livestock. But that was so Saul was just disobedience. One thing that he struggled with was disobedience. And to me, I consider this as a giant because eventually this actually cost him his crown. It cost him the throne, because as if you read the entire 1 Samuel chapter 15, you can see that towards the end the Lord rejected Saul, and that was when David came into picture. So one of the things that Samuel struggled with was disobedience. So disobedience was definitely Saul's giant, and this is not the first time. 1 Samuel chapter 15 is not the first time that he disobeyed God. He also made unlawful sacrifice earlier on. So this cost him his throne, right? The other example we're going to be looking at is David. David was someone who actually faced his giants. You can see that when David was a little boy, he was a shepherd. One of the things that he did was take care of his sheep, and he mentioned that he killed a lion, he killed a bear, because he knew that if he didn't kill this lion or this bear, that these things, the wild animals, would definitely eat him up, right? So David, even the Bible characterizes or describes David as brave, handsome, And we can also see in 1 Samuel chapter 17, David actually faced Goliath. Now, it's so funny because the Bible described Goliath as being 9 feet tall. He had like brass on his hands, on his legs. So, the children of Israelites were actually terrified by this guy called Goliath. And they were so scared, but they were in the mountain for 40 days. And honestly, they could have stayed less or longer. If David did not come to their rescue, they could have stayed there longer than expected. So when David came, David was like, David had Goliath. David was like, who is that uncircumcised Philistine to defy the children of the Lord? Goliath was like, I'm going to feed your skin. I'm going to feed you to the birds in the air. But David was like, you come with me with all these things, but I come with you in the name of the Lord. So this is very important, because once David was able to kill Goliath, this actually opened doors for him. He opened doors for him in the palace. He opened doors for his destiny. Now the people of Israel, like, they were like, Saul killed 1,000, David killed 10,000. So people actually the Israelites saw David as a potential, even though it was not necessarily said. But I believe that by killing Goliath, David was able to come one step closer to his destiny. So I really want to encourage each and every one of you out there who have like a giant to face. Your giants could be fear, your giants could be addiction, your giants could be whatever your giant is. Like, you need to face, because once you face your giant, you're able to step fully into your God-ordained destiny. I feel so bad for Saul, because even though Saul was still the king and he still died a king, his generational line did not get the opportunity of becoming a king, because as you can see, the next king after David was Solomon, and Solomon is obviously David's child. So obviously the second king, or the next king, should have been Jonathan. But because of how disobedient Saul was, God rejected Saul. God rejected everything that pertains to Saul. Rejected Saul, rejected Jonathan. He just rejected that family line, basically. So I really want to urge you guys to face your giants, whatever your giants may be: addiction, fear, whatever thing that may be something that requires prayers. You really need to face your giants. And we're going to also be looking at Jonah, but the story of Jonah is just so prevalent in our everyday life nowadays. You see the story of Jonah. God called Jonah, go to Nineveh and preach to them, but Jonah decided he's going to go the opposite direction. And I'm pretty sure he did that because he was afraid, he was scared, and it's sad, but and by the time he did that, he went into a boat. The boat almost sank because of Jonah, but they had to get rid of him. So as much as those who have decided, maybe the Lord has called them to do one or two things and they decided no, they're not going to do it, you're only putting yourself in hardship. You're only putting yourself in serious problem. You're only putting yourself in a situation where whenever you go to do something, the things around you develops problem or starts sinking. Because once Jonah was thrown in the ocean, he was in the belly of a fish before he decided, you know what, I'm gonna face my calling. So I really want to urge you guys out there, and trust me, when Jonah faced his calling, he actually ended up saving a city. So a lot of you guys out there who have decided to not step up to your calling or your God-ordained assignment, you're costing other people, you're also costing yourself. So I really want to encourage you guys, if the Lord has actually called you to do something, get up and do it. Get up and do it. Get up and do it. Because it could be, God forbid, but I don't even want to think of that, but just like Jonah, it could be your downfall. Also, walking in disobedience and not facing your giants, maybe fear, could also cost you as well. So, but God forbid, that would not be anybody's portion. So I hope this was teaching. I hope you guys were able to learn one or two things. I really like the story of David. I feel like this thing is something that we've always heard as a child, but recently when I was reading 1 Samuel, I found myself just looking at David. I saw this in a completely different light. It was no longer a child a childhood story or TV show that we usually watched, it became so real that wow, I actually need to face my giants. If my giant is fear, I need to face my giant. If my giant is prayer, if my giant is lack of prayer, I actually need to start praying. You know, if my giant is not walking in the ways of the Lord, I need to start walking in the ways of the Lord. So yeah, anyways, that's it from me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this was teaching. Guys, you guys need to like and share if you want to see more. Okay, bye guys.